Good morning. I'm Dan Ryder with Nevada Home Connections, and well, it's that time of year. If you can see the tree behind me, the leaves are falling and the nights are getting chilly, and with that, you got to think about winterizing your sprinkler system, and that's something I know how to do, so I thought I'd share that with you. And if you'd like to learn how yourself, stick with me. Well, here we are, the heart of the sprinkler system here. This is called an antisiphon valve, or I've also heard it referred to as a backflow preventer. And the job of this piece of equipment is to prevent the water that's gone out into the sprinkler system and drip system. This prevents it from flowing back into the house, so it's getting in your water supply. So you should have one of these. Tools required for this project: you need a flashlight, standard screwdriver, and I like to keep these are channel locks actually, but channel locks or pliers, something that you can get a grip if you need to. Of course, over here we have our sprinkler key. That's how we're going to turn these valves on and off. So bear with me, we're breaking into these valves. I'll be right back. Before I go too far, before you start this project, it's wise to have located the master shutoff for your house. You know, the stuff we're working with this morning, sometimes it's 20, 30, 40 years old. It only gets turned on and off a couple times a year. So not uncommon as you start working on this to basically spring a leak, and it's nice to know how to turn the whole thing off if you need to. So looking down, these in my yard, I've got two valves here. They're just little ball valves, and one of them turns off the sprinkler system. One of them is actually a drain and will drain out the equipment over here. If you have a third one, many people do, it's likely that the third one is actually the master shutoff for the house. So be careful with that. So Robin, if you don't mind, put that down in here. Now, one trick is you got to kind of determine which one is the valve and which one is the shutoff. And I kind of know this. Basically, this time here, if it's open, I'm going to want to close it righty-tighty before I go any further. Twist, twist, twist. And probably don't want to get this too terribly tight, just snug. Again, in the spirit of old valves, we're going to be very tender with these. Now this is the drain. Assuming that one turned everything off, I'm going to open this one, give it a few turns, and that should pretty much dry up the system for now. Step two. Okay, so we've got the water shut off to the backflow preventer here. You've got a couple of valves. Now you'll find sometimes there's two of them kind of side by side. In this case, there's, oh boy, that cap's on tight. There we go. So basically now we're all ready to get this thing drained. I like to go ahead and just shut this off while I'm working on it, just in case. Get that all the way off. A good rule of thumb with these valves, if it's parallel with the pipe, it's on, and if it's perpendicular to the pipe like that one, it's off. So, well, basic wisdom there. So I'm going to take this screwdriver and open this just halfway, and see how we want to get that all out of there. That should stop draining in just a moment. Do the same thing over here. Now this up, everything's open. That's pretty much drained at this point. It's a nice step. Once you know it's drained, turn these back kind of 3/4. That gives a signal to everybody concerned that this has been winterized. It's also better for the valves themselves if they're left in a 45. So for all intents and purposes, this part of it is winterized. Let's go take a look at the valve box. Okay, so I'm sure if you have an automatic sprinkler system, you've got a green box or blue box or black box out in your yard somewhere. And now we're going to reveal the mystery of what lies inside of here. And these are your sprinkler valves. Of course, these control the flow of the water to the different zones in your yard. The water's been shut off to these. So in this particular system, I've got these little bleeder valves. And I just kind of give them a little quarter turn open. And that way, if there's any water left inside, I can kind of expand and contract as needed. Some of these valves will actually have a little handle on them. It kind of says on, off. So it really depends on the variety, but pretty much all of them will have that. Each of these valve boxes or manifolds will also have some sort of drain. I've actually kind of backfilled mine in with dirt a little bit, mainly for insulation, and some people do actually insulate this. But for me, just keeping them kind of warm with soil works perfectly. And then I've got just a little hand valve over here. I'm going to lefty-loosey open that up, and sure enough, that's draining out of the valve box. So, that is about it. You do want to go into your controller, where the timer is for the sprinkler system itself, and turn that off to the off position, because you don't want your valves opening and closing with no water going through them all winter. And as you can see, this is not a high skill deal. I would say mild to moderate mechanical abilities will get this done. Feel free to give it a try, and if it works, let me know. I hope it helps. Thanks.